Hello, hello. It's Sarah Otis in Healing Hands Holistic Therapies, and I am popping in to share some Anahata codes. We're not going to do a journey today like I did on the solstice. I'm a little short on time for this audio or this. Um, Scoot back a little bit for this recording. So I always like to focus in on a particular area that I know many of us deal with. And so I'm going to do a few videos with particular areas. Some of them might involve a healing journey. Some of them may just involve Anahata codes, maybe other modalities, as I work my way back out into being, present and available for people for private services. So today's theme that was coming up to me the strongest was, what is one thing, and I don't want to use this one word, and I'm still in my mind trying to think what would be the best word. Because our language, what we choose to designate something as, attaches a particular energy. And a lot of times it can attach, to describe it, well, we could say a negative connotation. And it takes it kind of out of that positive aspect of where it maybe could actually benefit you, where we're wanting to see it more from, oh, this is awful, I hate this thing, it brings nothing but dread type energy. I know I'm not explaining it well. Hopefully it makes sense to you. So if you had to scan your body, what is one area that you're just like, I wish I could change this? Like, can I wiggle my nose and it just, at the snap of a finger, be gone? Could it be better? So I want you to just be present. There may be something that's like, this is present. So I'm just going to be silent here a second and let you scan your body and see what speaks to you. And I know there's going to be two ways that you might look at it, from like a very like, this really annoys me, to I want you to look at it lovingly, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use the example, not that this particularly annoys me or remember, I'm still having issues with brain and cognition of finding words. Gotta love mold illness. I don't have a dislike for this area. There's no upset about that. What can be bothersome to me about this area is trying to get it into clothes. And so over the last few years, like when I was living overseas for 2 years, my body was very happy. It was very healthy. And my weight just dropped off naturally. I wasn't even trying to lose weight. Where here in the US, my body doesn't like it here. It's very much at home and at peace and happiest on the other side of the world. So I've been kind of like on a roller coaster of weight. And over the last year, mine has gone up significantly again after I had lost an enormous amount after the mold exposure and moving out of it, and then having to move my own belongings because remember I said insurance didn't cover that cost. So I was extra exposed to all the spores and the mycotoxins as we had to move my belongings out, dispose of the things I could not keep. And so my body went into protection mode. And when it does that, it puts on an enormous amount of weight. So I gained back what I lost plus extra. So one thing that has always been an issue when I gain weight is this. And I know many of you probably deal with it. This is all just excess skin. And then you'll have it on other parts of your body if you lose weight. So when I go to put clothing on, things don't always fit because you've got all this skin. Somehow you've got to get into a sleeve. So that's why I love, sleeveless dresses and blouses, because then I'm not restricted, because a lot of times it will feel like it's really tight here, and that's not good for your lymphatic or your blood flow either if you've got something that's really restrictive. And I know when I lived in India, the kurtas, and can't remember the other name for like the long blouse dresses, the sleeves normally like cut off right here, and they would be so tight. Even when I was thin, I still had all this excess skin. It was even more so. I felt like I could have put straps around it to pull it in, but it would be all I could do to get those on, because that would cut me off. And at the end of the day, my arm would feel very weak and like fatigued. And that was from lack of good blood flow. And then you were hindering the flow of lymphatic fluid to escape to get rid of toxins. So if I'm focusing in on this excess skin, I could see it from the annoyed, like, I can't wear blouse, shirts, I can't get my arm in something, blah, 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 to where lovingly, I love you. This is just the way it is. How can I best support you so that I'm not bothered by you? Does that make sense? So take a view back again at what you brought into your mind of something that, whether you want to say annoys you, worries you, wishes you could change about your body. And I don't want this from gosh, I can't find my words. So I guess I'm not supposed to say it. So bring it up in whatever capacity works for you at this moment. So if you tune into that area, just kind of get quiet, close your eyes, just take some nice deep breaths. Start to now feel much calmer. So tune into the area that came to mind and ask it if it has any messages for you. And just allow yourself to be quiet. Don't try to force an answer. You may hear something, you may feel something. Some people may, like me, I'll visually see it. Or there's just this knowing, and you don't know where it's coming from, you just know it. Okay, so just tune in and see if it has a message for you. And if you need a little more time, just pause this video and then pick back up. So what came to me for mine was, for all this excess skin, was the past is bogging me down. And it's not like I'm unwilling to. Many times a lot of these things can be on a subconscious level. But somewhere where there may be some kind of trauma stored in here, which one thing that comes to mind, when we were kids, if my dad was not happy with something and we're driving he would reach over and pinch just a little bit. Sometimes it would be just enough to pinch just a little bit of skin. And if you squeeze that, it's tender. And so he would get your attention. I don't really remember ever my dad raising his voice or anything like that, but if he pinched the back of your arm, you knew you had done something that, maybe he'd already corrected you about and you decided to still do it, or he was letting you know, this is first warning. My dad was never one to hurt us or anything like that, but it was just that little pinch to say, you need to correct yourself. So it could be, I've got trauma stored here. And there was other people in my lifetime when they wanted to be mean. These were either boyfriends or friends. They would grab, the whole, like a handful, and squeeze it like they were trying to squeeze the juice out of a lemon. So there is most likely some kind of suppressed or buried trauma recall stuck in the memory of this tissue. And hence, when you think about it, it's very heavy. It moves, but it's very, in ways, firm and dense. So when you think of something like an old trauma where someone might have abused you, that can feel very burdensome, very heavy. You can almost feel like someone, my arms are disappearing, like they've put a cloak on you and you feel like you're like being weighed down by it. Many times, a lot of the past traumas that I've gone through, that can evoke that feeling. Though I've done a whole heck of a lot of work on myself, we never completely heal ourselves. I hope you understand that. And sometimes some traumas are not really meant to be healed. You can process them, and if you remove what I call like the electrical charge, like the trigger, then I find in many ways they're not harming you. They're there, but sometimes another event, it's like two magnets come together, and it's like, ooh, the electrical charge is like electrified. And then you may have some kind of event come up. You're like, oh, where did that come from? Like, the speeding car or the thing that comes flying past you and you weren't expecting it because you weren't hearing it coming. That's what can happen with traumas. We can get sick. One thing we could say, I could get bit by a bug, a bee sting, mosquito bite, and that is a trauma to your body, and that could be enough to be that magnet to electrify the trauma stored in this tissue. Does that make sense? So back when I was a medical massage therapist, that was a lot of what I dealt with people, was helping them to clear out and release those stored traumas in the muscle tissue and in your ligaments, tendons, blood, lymph, all of it. And a lot of times you can be on a table and be receiving body work and just all of a sudden have this massive emotional release and not know, why am I sobbing? Or why did I just start laughing? Or why did I start coughing or needing to pass gas? Whatever it may be, your body is wanting to clear something out. And, as humans, we've been taught, oh, you do not pass gas or burp or pick your nose or pick your ear or your butt or your private areas in front of people. That's just kind of like common manners. But I used to tell clients, whatever happens on this table, let it flow. Your body needs to release it. Like a lot of times, when I'm doing healing work online, I will yawn a lot. Sometimes I will belch, or it feels like you're going to belch, but it's just like little burps of air come up. I'll need to clear my throat. I get to where I start coughing, my nose will run, my eyes will water. I mean, and I just let it flow. So think about that in your life. Where do you ever like push the brakes, pump them, like stop, 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 stop? When your body is wanting to, my arm keeps disappearing. When your body is naturally wanting to discharge itself. So think about that in a minute. And some experiences may like quickly return to your mind. And there may even be situations where you maybe were in an argument or a conversation with maybe somebody who has inflicted some kind of trauma on you in your lifetime. Think about some feeling you might have felt. Sometimes you'll feel like that tremble or that shake in your stomach, like, oh my God, I could vomit or I could may have diarrhea. What is going on here? That is a response from your body, and it's screaming something to you, and it's wanting you to take the moment to pause, listen, feel, maybe see, hear, smell, taste, because it's going to find a sense to convey the message. But most of us humans don't take the time to listen because we're all rushed. We're all worried about who's posting what fake. Ooh, the phone disappeared. Don't you like my little woof? Posting their disillusioned lives, their fake lives online. Half of what people post, I don't even think is real. It's a perception of what they want people to believe they're doing. This is not coming from a place of judgment, but I can read the energy signatures when I see people's postings. Hence why I don't really do much social media, because it's a cesspool of people that are just begging for attention. And yes, there's the good and the bad of social media. It's allowed us all to meet people from around the world and to connect, because I'll say I connect better with most people that aren't anywhere near me in my locale. Most of them are in other countries all around the world. People that are local, yes, I have some good friends local, but most of the people I know, I don't relate with anymore. We don't have common interests or likes. The pandemic has, damaged so many of our relationships, and we found how many people just really weren't vibing with on the same level as us. They were more in a state of fear, and dread, and willing to follow themselves off the edge of the cliff. I wasn't one of those people. And so it has shown me a lot about people. So no judgment. People fall in and out of our lives naturally and organically. It's when we fight it to keep them there that we end up receiving more trauma, and they have no clue, because it's like we're trying to, I don't know if this plug will fit, or hold on, it's cord. Whoops. It's not going to show your power cord. So if you think, so it's that, I don't even know what you call this. Is it the C? If you're trying to get that in the micro USB, it's not going to fit. You can try shoving it in there for the next 20 years. It's not going to fit. So if you keep trying to fit people, places, jobs, relationships, particular foods you're used to eating into a plug or an outlet that just is not the size for it, it's almost like, I don't know if, as a kid you ever wanted stuck your fingers in the electrical outlets. My younger brother was famous for it. He would also stick paper clips into them. And even though it would bite his fingers, he would go back again for it. So think about that. if you're resisting letting some people to naturally fall out of your life, it's not saying you're ending the friendship or relationship, that you hate them or don't love them anymore. They're not in your main inner circle. Now, maybe 3, 6 months, several years from now, they may come back around and you will match again. Because a lot of times when we're on our healing journeys, we've got a lot coming up, and there's going to be a lot of static between people that happens energetically based on what we're dealing with, what we're processing. And sometimes being around certain people, it just makes you feel very agitated. Like their energy, especially when we are going through a lot, like if you're going through intensive illnesses, people, going through chemo, people that have recent surgeries, or someone who's in an abusive relationship, sometimes just being around them or in their space can feel very, like you don't understand why you feel the way you feel. And then once you leave the space of around them, you're like, oh, I feel better. Most people would never connect the two. Some people do. And I want you to be more aware of that. Be aware of your surroundings everywhere you go. If, say, you're in your car and you're happy and joyful and you're singing and driving, you go in the grocery store and all of a sudden you're like, oh, God, I'm so ugly. I'm fat. I can't buy anything. I'm so fat. If I buy anything, I'm going to get fatter. Or, oh my God, someone's going to see my bald spots or my gray hair. Oh my God, my glasses are dirty. What is someone going to think? I didn't put lipstick on. What is someone going to think? And then you walk out of the store and now you don't have any of those feelings. Those weren't yours. Or they might have been, but someone you walked past in the aisle may have had the same emotion or processes they put themselves through, and it resonated with yours. You remember those two magnets coming together. So that's many times why you will feel something when you're out with other people and not know where it's coming from. Like the famous one is, you can be walking along and all of a sudden you have the most intense pain, or you have a headache, or all of a sudden your stomach's upset. And then maybe you go 2 aisles over and it's gone. Transference. You just passed someone that was emitting that signal, and something within you matched it. Is this making sense? So when you think back to this one area of your body that, gets to you every day, you wish you could change. If you are out in public or you are around other people, does it seem to heighten that attention to that one area? Think about that for a second. So we'll give like an example of, say, in your workplace, maybe your coworker, whether you sit in cubicles or you sit in separate offices, you see them throughout the day, but you're not with them the entire day. Maybe you eat lunch together, or you talk in your cars after work or something like that. But as you're sitting there thinking, you're like, God darn, now that Sarah's pointed this out, when I am eating with her, I find I get choked easy and I can't swallow. I'm constantly having to clear my throat. And they may make a comment, be like, are you okay over there? Why do you always get choked? You post-nasal drip? What's going on? And then you can go back to your desk and maybe have a snack and have no problems. Most people may think, oh, it's the air conditioning, or, we're sitting in front of the window. Maybe it's the sun or the heat, or the chair, or being that I'm rushed to eat. I mean, all those could be contributing factors. But if it's a repeating theme, when you're always with that one person, it triggers that one sensation. Now, it may not, in your mind, be like, well, it's not connected to that body part or that area. But in ways it is, because what you're feeling is that person's magnet meeting yours. So they have something going on in their throat chakra. They could have stuff going on in their thyroid gland, their parathyroid, their trachea, their esophagus, their carotid arteries, their lymph. I mean, you've got all kinds of lymph nodes in this region. Your vagus nerve, all the musculature, all the skeletal tendons, ligaments, tissue, everything. They may have something physically going on in this area, emotionally, energetically, and it is connected magnetically to whatever is going on in your body. So sometimes you may notice, like, I'll notice this is like a huge thing I notice on social media when people are doing videos. They're constantly worried about what their hair looks like. And there's this one practitioner, she constantly, I almost get to the point where I just set my phone down and walk away and just listen, because seeing that how she's constantly concerned about how she looks on video can be very bothersome to me. And that could be a trigger. Now, the only reason I keep pulling my shirt is I don't want my bra showing. And some people may be like, leave your shirt alone, sister. But that's almost like me being in, eating lunch with that person. And the more they mess with their hair, the more it bothers me. And there's that magnet. Is this all making sense? And you got to think your interactions with people, whether in person or watching or listening to someone online, are all something that can electrify and magnetize to something within us. And it typically heightens in one area of your body where you have trauma or disgust or annoyance with, if that makes sense. So in recent weeks, I do go for lymphatic treatments. Ever since in my late teens, early 20s, when I allowed myself to believe that doctors truly had the best interest for me, and had surgeries really I did not need to have, I ended up with a lot of lymphatic issues. And this is another thing, yes, this is from excess weight gain and loss, but also can be due to thyroid, which I have thyroid issues. But this can get very heavy with lymphatic. Hence, women, I worked with a lot of these type patients and clients who had breast cancer and had lymph nodes, cut out in their armpits or along the chain in their neck. And when you do that, now it's like, like when beavers create a dam in a river, well, the water can't flow anymore, so it builds up and then it floods the land. Hence, what happens into our body. So if you cut any lymph nodes here or in the armpit, now the arm cannot drain. It's stuck in the arm. So I would have clients come in and their arms, they may be in a skinny person, their arm was this big, and it felt like it weighed 50 pounds. And it may have only weighed maybe 10 pounds of fluid. And that hurts, because I know typically when I need some lymphatic work, I will feel very heavy, agitated, irritable, might even feel sicky, because it's building up of toxins that your body needs to expel. So when I would have these clients come in, their arm would be very heavy. And so we'd have to work to release the fluids. So if we think about this, I got to wrap it up here and do our code before I run out of time. Take this as what I'm sharing in this video is take it out into the real world, whether in person or when you're on social media. See what connects magnetically to you, brings up some kind of sensation in your body. It's going to play on one of your senses, whether you see it, smell it, taste it, feel it, hear it. Is that all of them? And I just also will say, just a weird knowing. It'll almost sometimes be like a deja vu feeling. So And if you want to, keep yourself like a little journal and write these, what do I want to call them? Almost like knowings, premonitions, or intuitions that you pick up. Note them, because as I do more videos, I'm going to kind of build upon things I've shared. I always say you're called to the video you're meant to watch, but sometimes I encourage you to go back and watch other things that I've publicly shared, because it may give you another puzzle piece that fits into the grander puzzle of things that make more sense. So when we think of this area that we have issues, let me think a minute. Hold on, I didn't get my... I don't have Word on this computer. But I have the Excel. See, this is the other thing. When you can't remember things, you're like, and how did I do this? Because I've got the codes downloaded. That was what I forgot to open before we got started. Sorry. I was just so excited to get on before I ran out of time. Hold on just a minute. So I'm in the book of codes, and I'm going to ask what, and we're going to continue to utilize the flower essences. So what for highest good would be the best possible flower essence to come forward that would assist us with connecting, listening, and attuning to our body so that we can receive the messages it wishes to convey to help us to release any resistance to this particular body part and learn to love it for what it is so that we can heal it and release ourselves from this resistance. So, okay, so we are 12:30. $103. So Southern Cross. Okay. Wheel. We're going to search for it. Had a link to it, but it's not working. There we go. Okay. So the Southern Cross, it's an Australian bush flower essence. It's really pretty. Let's see. Get back over here. Share screen. Is it going to work? Where are we? So, see, it's a very pretty, let's see. It's not, it won't enlarge while we are sharing, but it's a very beautiful blossom. Really pretty. So let me read that. So it says, it's from this I guess, Stirling or Stirling ranges of Western Australia. It is for those people who have a tendency to feel that they are a victim, that life has been hard on them, or that they have been hard done by. Doesn't that make sense? So if you think, if I, referring to my arms, and I was saying that I've received traumas, people have, literally abused my arms out of anger and meanness. So if I think, I feel like people have been really mean and harsh to me, I may not realize it, but I'm in that victim consciousness or mentality. So it says this essence helps people to understand that they can create all the situations that happen to them in life, and that they can change their situation by changing their thoughts. So negative condition of this is victim mentality, complaining, bitter, martyrs, poverty consciousness. I know I go in and out of that all the time. Positive outcomes that this essence can bring is personal power. It's helping you to stand in that personal power. Yeah, those things happened to you in the past, but you know what? I'm here in this moment and I'm taking back my power. I'm not going to let these things of the past to have control over me. So take a responsibility. Yeah, I might have created those situations, but let's do better. How can I improve upon myself so I don't repeat those same lessons or those same experiences? Let's change it. It invokes also positiveness. Let's see if there's anything else. I mean, that pretty much sums it up on the T. So let's get it installed so that we can allow this amazing flower essence to begin to help us to unravel this victim consciousness, poverty consciousness, so that we can release the burdens of the past and allow ourselves to step into our empowered self, where we take back our power and release the control and the tethers of everyone else that's tried to pull us back into those old ways of being, if that makes sense. And it also, if you say, someone has naturally fallen out of your life, if all of a sudden they come back and they're just really at you, like, contact me, why are you not returning messages, why won't you go out with me, I want to talk to you, blah blah, I would stay away from them, because they energetically on a subconscious level felt you pull their claws out of them and discharged it, and they were feeding on that and they want to hook back in. So if they can get you back, so sometimes they might promise you things, will fake apologize and all kinds of things, but they're trying to rehook into you because they feel safer when they're hooked into you. Because when they're not hooked into you, they're just like all discombobulated, and they're very much in victim consciousness, but they're blaming you for that state of being. You understand? It's not your responsibility. What did this essence help you? To take responsibility. So when you take responsibility for yourself and the things of the past, that mirrors to other people. And if that person who wants to rehook into you chooses not to take responsibility, that's their stuff. That's not your responsibility to deal with it or to make it better for them or to make them feel comfortable or safe. That is their responsibility and theirs alone. No one can do that for you but you, yourself. That's their responsibility. So you can hold the hand position, or you can just be present and listen as I install it for us all. So your left palm goes up, right palm over the center of your chest. We ask for, accept, align with, and hold this Anahata code. With gratitude, we choose to instill and align with the Southern Cross flower essence. 4292682256. 4292682256. 4292682256. 4292682256. 4292682256. 4292682256. 4292682256. Left palm goes over your right. And you can just take a nice deep breath in and allow this to work deeply into your mind, body, and spirit, reaching into the deepest depths of your subconscious to help with the unwinding of these old traumas with grace and ease, and allow them to be acknowledged and released and healed at your level of pace that you can handle. And it is so. So if you have any questions at any time on any of my videos, comment, or you can private message me, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help answer some questions for you. But allow what I've shared today to help you help yourself. Until next time, much love. Bye-bye.